A handful of drivers come to Charlotte Motor Speedway tonight looking for more than glory, looking for more than fame. They're looking for a little bit of beer money as a result of 150 miles here at the flat quad oval at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It is the granddaddy of them all, but only one man can walk away with a handful of cash. Who's it gonna be? We'll find out at the conclusion of 110 laps. You're watching the Pros League. Ms. Dockside 150 live from Charlotte Motor Speedway here on LSRTV. Good evening, race fans. Joe Cortez getting ready to call all the action with you down trackside. Jason Stout, Al Smith joining me here in the mix. And guys, this ought to be a lot of fun. Trucks at Charlotte. It doesn't get better than that, with a whole host of talented drivers. Jason, get ready for a lot of fun tonight. This is going to be cool with Pros League coming to LSRTV.
Yeah, this is going to be an awesome race. We'll see a lot of speed. We'll see how much patience these guys will give us. These guys have been working on these trucks quite a bit. I'd say they'll pull off some pretty fast lap times, and we'll have some killer racing going on tonight.
Al Smith working down on pit road, tracking all the storylines down on the track here in the Mandalay Bay Series. Al, what is everyone chatting down on pit road?
Right now, the talk is the temperature of the track. Right now, we're at 78 degrees, partly cloudy skies, so the grip should be up here tonight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So watch for the high side to come in. Watch for the outside momentum to propel people to the front of the night's race.
Tonight's live coverage of the Pros Professional Racing Online Series League brought to you by Mrs. Dockside herself, Kim Dolan. You need a reeler down the Channel Islands, you know what to call. Call Mrs. Dockside, 805-341-4495. Pace car rolls off. Let's go down tonight's qualifying order. David Adamson starts on the pole in the 77 machine. Outside of that, Gary Bauer, the Sim Racing Sediment Analyzer machine, on the outside of row number 1. Stefan Earp, your series founder, George Bark, row number 2. Jay Anderson, Cecil Renee start 5th and 6th respectively. Andrew Heigl, Daniel Miller will be row number 4, and rounding out your top 10, Josh Hamilton, the 25, the 01, Scott Princeton, your top 10. Brian Cross, James Hickson, you're in row number 6. Kerry Cleaver, Ryan Borges, row number 7. Bearless Falcons, row in the inside of row number 8. Travis Brown on the outside of him. Christopher Lorenz, Ralph Shipman, the row behind them, and rounding out the field, starting shotgun on this entire group, is a 73 of Jeremy Crandall. Short field tonight, but it is going to make for some very entertaining racing. Remember, all of these guys working for a little bit of cash out there. We will get the exact payout of all these drivers out here tonight, but 110 laps going to go by faster than we think, especially when these guys consider they're all racing for a little bit of beer, Thursday night beer money out here with the Pros Online Series. It's going to be a fast track tonight. Fastest time in qualifying, 28.975 seconds here in the league. They'll be joining us every other Thursday night on LSRTV, and we're certainly glad to have them and bring them here to you live. Pace car gets the heck out of the way. It's David Adamson, Gary Bauer in charge of this field. Adamson taking his time, finally hits the lap pedal, and green flag flies on the first of 110 laps around Charlotte Motor Speedway. Adamson, Bauer side by side going into turns number 1. George Bark now fighting Stefan Earp on that outside lane. We got a big wreck, big trouble.
Going into turn 1 here.
Bearless Falcons, the 006 machine, Travis Brown, Ralph Shipman, all involved in this first lap incident. I'm only seeing 3 cars. Jason, what do you got?
Trying to find the replay here. On the start here, trying to zoom in to get a number on this truck. Looks like the 17 maybe.
It looks like it's going to be involved. It's going to start round to the 78 and the 25 machine. That's 78 Colorado machine belonging to, I believe that's Brian Cross. It looks like he just gets caught up there with a 25 machine, and those two drivers start a chain reaction through the field. The Colorado machine gives the number 25 a punt through the field, and he's going to collect, it looks like the 33, the 72 maybe? No, that's going to be the 02 of Ryan Borges. 28 gets a piece of that, the 69 and the 006 all get involved in that one as well. So it's going to involve at least 6 trucks. Chris Lorenz also gets a piece of that one. Ryan Borges, no stranger to iRacing. He's going to get a big piece of that one as well. Travis Brown caught in the mix. Heavy smoke coming out of the 006 machine of Bearless Falcons. and that is going to bring out the caution flag on lap number 1. And already we got guys going through the grass. Gary Bauer, George Barks, Stephen Earp going through the grass to end this first lap here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, waiting for the pace car to catch up. And guys, it's not uncommon that we wouldn't see that in a big money race like this. A lot of guys excited, a lot of guys getting the fluids pumping early, but even for these guys, that's a little uncharacteristic. I think the TV jinx is getting them a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks like the nerves was flying right there, and that 25 might have missed a gear right there. He checked up a little bit. They was just right over top of him, just all up on him before they could lift, it looked like. It happens fast.
It happens in the blink of an eye, and you don't want to be caught in it. The 02 of Ryan Borges, the 28 of Chris Lorenz, they continue to sit out on track. I'm not exactly sure what they're waiting for, or if their trucks just aren't able to get out any further. That could be part of it. Looks like there might be some problems there with the pace car as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but the pace car looks like he's just sitting out there.
Yeah, it looks like the pace car's not running at all. He's supposed to be out there pacing the field, and it's still sitting out on pit road there. That's not a good sign.
Al Smith Jr. down on pit road taking a look at the pace car. What are you seeing down there?
It looks like either the pace car driver is missing, maybe a bathroom break or something, but the pace car not moving, maybe some transmission issues on the Ford Mustang iRacing pace car.
Al, why don't you jump in there and give him a hand?
I'm trying to push it right now, but it doesn't want to budge, so I'm not really sure what else to do.
Al Smith Jr. working his magic on the pace car. Keep doing your thing, buddy, and we'll come back to you, hopefully getting that pace car in running order here as we continue to tick off laps. Lap number 3 now of 110, getting ready to be run. David Adamson, you're still in the lead. Gary Bauer second. George Bark, Stephen Earp, Cecil Renee, your top 5. And Cecil Renee in that Roush 64 machine, he was a little bit of a wild card tonight there, Jason. He wasn't sure he was going to run. Ultimately got talked into it by the team. Roush showed up with the truck, and now he's sitting top 5.
Yeah, looking good. Yeah, he's really got things going for him right here. You know, you gotta hope everything works out and we can get this thing going back green.
Let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break and get it all figured out here. You're watching the Pros League Mrs. Dockside 150 live from Charlotte Motor Speedway on LSRTV. Welcome back to LSRTV's live coverage of the Pros League. Mrs. Dockside 150 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We apologize for the technical difficulties, guys. It looks like for the first time ever in LSRTV history, actually, we have finally run across that rare and elusive pace car glitch, where the pace car just does not want to go under the yellow flag. Guys, this is an anomaly. I've heard of this before. I've heard many a league complain about this, but this is the first time in broadcast trip, no less, that I've actually seen this take place.
Yeah, it's a little rough. I mean, it can just happen at any time. I mean, I've seen it a couple times in sim while driving. I mean, it can come out a couple cautions and not come out on like the third caution, or it cannot come out at all. What happens there is the race turns unofficial and they can't proceed because because the pace car ain't out. So we gotta join a new server and try it again.
Try one more time to go 110 laps here in the Mrs. Dockside 150. And Al, something you were mentioning actually just a moment ago before we went on air, this is actually kind of a boon for those guys that are involved in that first lap incident. When we attempted to start the race for the first time. Now they're going to get brand new trucks out there, and they're going to have one more chance to try to go live and go clean for 110 laps for a little bit of beer money tonight.
Yeah, just like that all-star race a few years ago, the teams pulled the backup trucks out of the haulers, got the setups put into them, and they're out on the racetrack right now. A little quick shakedown on those cars, but crew's working real hard here on pit road as they get ready to go for this 110 lap competition here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Qualifying still unofficial. We still have that happen here one more time as everybody gets ready to load in. The Pros League, it's really cool to see these little leagues pop up here, guys, and the way these leagues do it, where everybody pays in and everybody gets paid out just a little bit if you're fast enough. Right tonight, we're looking at plus or minus 20 cars. Winner should walk away with just under $50, plus or minus. That's not bad for an hour and a half sitting behind the wheel of your favorite racing simulator. I'd say $50 is a pretty good payday, actually.
Yeah, that's a real good payday. I mean, these guys are, they're after it for the money and for the win. They want to have their name up there on the top at the end. And the way it was looking there at the start of the other one, these guys are looking a little thirsty.
All these guys looking a little hungry out there, all trying to make their way up there. But, as you look down the schedule, the payout schedule, the cool thing about it is 43 trucks show up for a race. Winner walks away with 100 American pesos. Second place walks away 75, pace all the way down to position number 18, where at least your top 18 walk away with something for their efforts out here. And that's pretty cool, guys. There's a lot to be said for that. And even though these are some of the best drivers in iRacing, some of the best drivers in the karting world, guys like George Bark, guys like David Adamson, Gary Bauer, the race setup from Race Setup Analyzer. God, I couldn't get that out of my mouth tonight. George Bark out here. A lot of names you've heard thrown around iRacing and around again. This is only do nothing. Having that extra payday can do nothing but continue to attract top-tier client to these startup leagues that are only making the level of competition better in the iRacing sim.
Yeah, that's what it's all about right there, is the way they got it set up. So where you pay your entry fee and then they pay out the winners, the guys that want to race and are going to race clean, you got to put that money up, that'll maybe that'll control them a little bit and sort of police themselves and put on a good show. And that way everybody gets paid out too, because everybody's also putting in, and it just grows the companies larger.
Well, everybody in the top 18, if we get 43 cars out here tonight, we're looking maybe top 6, top 8 getting paid out for their efforts here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. But still, there's a lot of worse things you could be doing with an hour and a half of time than sim racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Still waiting for some more competitors to come down on track and at least turn one lap to let us know they're here. 11 drivers have now joined the server. George Bark, Gary Bauer, Jang Anderson, Andrew Heil, Josh Hamilton, Cecil Renee, David Adamson, Chris Lorenz, Kerry Cleaver, James Hickson, Scott Brinson, all here on the track, all getting everything ready to move and getting ready to get out here to do 110 laps in the Mrs. Dockside 150, part of the Pros Racing League at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Al, this is something else we didn't talk about, I guess. We talked about those other drivers that were involved in that first lap incident, like Christopher Lorenz, like Andrew Heigl. We didn't talk about the fact that these guys have to requalify, and we could see another situation here where some of those guys that were qualifying in the back that got up in that incident, they could either qualify further back, or more importantly, they could qualify further forward. It's
definitely going to come down to who qualifies where. And on that initial restart there, sitting on pit road where my perspective was, it looked like they either missed a gear or something broke in the rear end of that truck. So the team's working on that. A lot of qualifying runs happening right now. A series of officials are starting to get trucks lined up on pit road to get ready to do this qualifying session so we can get underway here tonight at Charlotte. So, Joe, the question is, are you ready for some intense open set racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway?
Oh, I think we're all excited to see a little bit of that happen here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. 110 laps around the very flat Charlotte Motor Speedway. They are closing down the practice session now. They are getting ready to re-qualify for tonight's race. Tonight's race brought to you by Mrs. Dockside herself, Kim Dolan, and the Mandalay Bay Real Estate. They are providing you everything you need to know about real estate in the Channel Islands area, including Westport, Seabridge, Oxnard, and the entire Mandalay Bay area. If you're looking to move out to the West Coast, Mrs. Dockside herself is your gal. Call Kim Dolan at 805-341-4495. That's 805-341-4495, or visit her website, kimdolanrealtor.com. Mrs. Dockside proudly presenting the Mrs. Dockside 150. And while these guys qualify, let's go ahead and let them get back to the business of racing. We will return with qualifying results and getting ready to try it again for 110 laps here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. You're watching live coverage of the Pros League Mrs. Dockside 150 live from Charlotte Motor Speedway on LSRTV.
the top 10s within 2/10.
So here we go again, live from Charlotte Motor Speedway with the Professional Racing Online Series League, getting ready to turn it up for the Thursday Night Beer Money Truck Series, presented by Mrs. Dockside herself, Kim Dolan Realtors, out in the Channel Islands of California. Joe Cortez, Al Smith, Jason Stout joining you in the booth for what's going to be a very entertaining race. We already tried it once. The glitch bit us in the butt, and now we're back to try to get one more time here at Charlotte. 110 laps, open setups for all these trucks, and it is one more time back on the loud pedal for 18 drivers. Top 5 getting paid for their efforts tonight, so you know each of these guys is going to want to do something to try to tear it up and get up front in that top 5. Jason Stout, what's it going to take?
You said one of the key words out there about tearing it up. We're going to have to keep that thing clean. I know I say it all the time, but then you got to keep the fenders on these trucks. They're sort of aero dependent anymore. And with these setups, these guys are really moving, so they don't want to mess their setups up at all. And you could do that by smacking the wall here. And as they just requalified again, you've got the top 10s within 2/10 of a second. That's some smoking times at a 29 flat, just about.
Going to make sure some very, very entertaining racing. Al Smith down on pit road. Out real quick. They had one more chance to do it. It looks like the qualifying order has shifted around just a little bit. What are you seeing as the keys to victory down on pit road?
Keys to victory, as you guys already alluded to, keeping the front fenders on the truck, staying out of trouble. Can't win it in the first corner, but you sure can lose it. Hopefully we will not see that, as these guys are all ready to go here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedways. 4 tires and fill it up with fuel with the last green flag run. I think that'll be the key to the victory here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Getting ready to do battle for over 110 laps, 150 miles here in the Mrs. Dockside, 150 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Let's take you down to tonight's qualifying order. David Adamson remains on position number 1 in that pole position, turning a qualifying time 29.004 seconds, just a touch slower from his previous qualifying attempt, but he's going to remain on the front row. George Bark, one of the founders here of the Professional Racing Online Series, he will now start position number 2. Stephen Erb stays position number 3 in the 53. Daniel Miller, the 06, moves up to position number 4. Andrew Heigl, the 46, starts position number 5. Gary Bauer, from the Sim Racing Setup Analyzer Machine, in position number 6. Cecil Renee, Kerry Cleaver, position 7th and 8th, respectively. Jay Anderson, Josh Hamilton, and will round out the top 10. Ryan Borges, no stranger to sim racing. He will start position number 11. James Dixon, position number 12. Row number 7 belongs to Scott Brinson, Chris Lorenz. Verlis Falcons will be position number 15. Brian Cross will be position number 16. Travis Brown, Ralph Shipman will be the last 2 trucks to start tonight here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So 18 trucks will start tonight's race. And it looks like one of those trucks will start down from pit road. Gary Bauer is going to start from pit road. Jay Anderson will start from pit road. That's going to be a very interesting move for those 2 drivers. We know for a fact that Gary Bauer is fast and he's got a good truck, but it's going to cost him. He's going to have a little bit more time to recover than making that start off pit road. He's going to show up to this race 1 lap down and that can only mean it's going to make it harder, that much harder for him to climb through the ladder and get to the front of this field. 110 laps here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Get ready for a barn burner as we get ready to go green flag racing. The first racing Ford Mustang pace car down on pit road. And now it is all in the control of David Adamson as he gets ready to start the first of 110 laps for the second time tonight. Loud pedal is hit, and we are now green flag racing. Adamson, George Bark side by side. Here comes 06 of Daniel Miller as they go to turn number 1.
It looks like everybody's getting up through the gears pretty good this time. There's double file coming off of 2. Everybody's got up to speed, coming at you in turn 3.
Turn by 2 by 2, they continue to run through turns 1 and 2, and now it's the 44 of George Bark. The Barks Competition karting machine has the advantage on the outside, and he will take away the lead in lap number 1. George Bark moves up to position number 1. David Adamson now position number 2 as they debate making it go 3 wide through turns 1 and 2. Stephen Erb, Daniel Miller is thinking better of it. Josh Hamilton in that mix as well deciding to think better of it. So George Bark now gets a commanding lead over David Adamson and Stephen Erb. Now in third, Andrew Heigl, Dan Miller, your top 5. Josh Hamilton now under fire from Gary Cleveland and Cecil Renee. Both those drivers. Cecil Renee having some problems. 64 hits the wall twice. He's going to send the 02 into the grass. 02 recovers, but the 64 is in trouble. Ryan Borges able to rescue the machine, but the bad news for him, he is way in the back of this field. He dropped from position number 9 easily to about 15.
Oh man, what a save you made to hold on to that thing. As for Cecil Renee, that right side took some heavy damage.
The 64 machine now still has heavy damage on that truck, but yet the 64 continues to run on the field. And he right now, the 64 of Cecil Renee, will be scored in about position number 10, despite that heavy right side damage he has on the truck. And you're going to see the replay here in just a moment. This is more importantly, though, in that replay, you'll watch that 64 machine hit the wall repeatedly. But keep an eye on that 02, Ryan Borges from the Aurora Coin Chevrolet. Keep an eye on what he has to do to make sure he does not become a casualty of that. He pulls it all the way down into the grass, bounces it off a couple hills down there, able to get it back on track. Ryan Borges currently running 15 out of 16 positions here on track. So he's got a long way to go, but the good news for him, minimal damage on that truck means he's got a chance to rescue it and get it back running up to speed. Remember I was mentioning Travis Brown just a moment ago? He's now up in position number 11. Chris Lorenz, Scott Brinson up in position as well. But right now it's all about your leader, and your leader, George Bark, continues to do so in convincing fashion. 6 laps on the being scored, 5 of them have belonged to George Bark.
Looking back through the field here on Ryan Borges, he's the one that took the adventure down through the grass. Looks like he's gathered it up. He's got his truck back up to speed, trying to pull his way up through the field.
Field now starting to get spread out a little bit. George Bark is still up front first. Stephen Erb, Dave Anderson, your top 3. Daniel Miller, Andrew Heigl, your top 5. But here comes Josh Anderson in that number 25 machine. He's going to pull up right beside the Mellow Yellow City Chevrolet 46 of Andrew Heigl, and now Josh Hamilton will be breaking into the top 5 for the first time tonight. Top 5 will get paid out for their efforts here for 18 entries. So Josh Hamilton looking to get in one of those money spots early, makes the clean pass on the 46 of Heigl, score the 25 of Josh Hamilton now, position number 5. The biggest thing I've not seen out there, guys, is I've been looking all night for that sim racing setup analyzer machine. I don't see it on the track right now. The 27 of Gary Bauer. Either of you guys see it out there?
Yeah, he's way back in the field. He's in 16th place right now. He started on pit road there when the green flag dropped. He missed the start, had to start on pit road, and that's hurt him out there. I say if anybody was hoping for a caution, it was him. And he's almost 15 seconds behind the leader, so he really needs to get up on the wheel or hope for a yellow one.
The 78, the Colorado machine of Brian Cross, he passes as 22 of Ralph Shipman with ease. So that'll move Brian Cross from position number 13 into position number 12. Now being told the 22 machine has some issues. Al, what are you hearing down on pit road?
He got into the wall coming down the front stretch in the tri-oval, just got a little bit too high, and that outside wall sucked him right in. Car's a little bit roughed up on the right front, but it seems to be driving right now, but a little bit off the pace is Ralph Shipman.
Yeah, I was looking at that. He smacked that wall pretty good there on the front stretch below the flag stand.
So Ralph Shipman's going to have a little bit of trouble now trying to figure that out. Meanwhile, around that 69 machine, there's a big jailbreak. Kerry Cleaver loses position. He drops 3 positions. In fact, the 0-1 of Scott Brinson gets in front of him, the 28 of Chris Lorenz, and the 33 of Travis Brown, all jumping Kerry Cleaver. So what was the number 7, the 7th place driver? Drops now to position number 10, and it looks like more switching about to happen up front as Travis Brown gets beside the 28 of Chris Lorenz, that old school Texaco Havoline truck. He is going to try to do battle with that 33 of Travis Brown with the big Monster Energy logo on the deck lid of that machine. Not going to happen. Chris Lorenz still position number 8. Travis Brown 9th. Kerry Cleaver 10th. Cecil Renee hanging on, but I'm not exactly sure how. He's making it work, though.
Yeah, he's having to wheel the far out of that thing to keep that thing straight. He's got some heavier outside damage on that right front corner, and that's got to be slowing him down some.
Daniel Miller now gets around your pole sitter, David Adamson. Adamson moves from position number 3 to position number 4. The 06 of Daniel Miller will now be scored position number 3. Stephen Erb in the Carolina Chevrolet currently scored position number 2, and George Bark starting to get away from the rest of this field. Over half a second on your second place runner right now. Almost 2 seconds on Daniel Miller in position number 3. Guys, you never want to wish for a caution, but I bet you there's a couple guys here doing just that, hoping that a caution will come out and they'll be able to save themselves just a little bit out there, try to do something to keep up with your current leader. Ryan Cross, the Colorado machine, the 78, now in position number 10. Dispatches Kerry Cleaver and Jason. Kerry Cleaver, that 69 machine, he was running strong earlier in this race, but it looks like something just broke in 69.
Yeah, I don't see any damage on his vehicle right off. He might be lifting, saving the tires. So we heard these guys talking that they was going to try to keep it clean and run this thing green flag the whole way. So they might be saving their stuff for later on in the run and try to stretch it out.
Challenge out for position number 7, the 33 of Travis Brown, getting around Andrew Heigl with ease. Heigl falls back to position number 7, and it looks like Heigl's got a little bit of damage on that rear end, on the rear right side of the 46 Mel Yellow Chevrolet. Not exactly sure where he picked that up, but that will hurt him as they continue to turn laps here at Charlotte.
Yeah, he does have some right side damage. Not real sure where they come from either, but it looks like that he's got the tail end up in the wall or somebody. If it's pushed up a little bit, they may hurt him or help him. Depends on how he's set up. If he's a little loose, it might help him tighten him up a little bit if it don't push it out too much.
Stephen Earp, the 53 machine, seems to have gotten his second win. He dispatches 006 of Barreless Falcons. Falcons now going to go one lap down, and now Stephen Earp getting ready to challenge George Bark for the lead. He's reeling him in a hurry, guys. About 3-4 truck lengths between those two trucks out there, and either the lap traffic helped George or Stephen Earp, or he's just found a tailwind on that Chevrolet. He is catching your leader in a hurry. Last time around, cut off about how do I put this? A handful of time on George Bark to Stephen Earp. Something was working in that 53 machine. He's getting ready to make it go time.
Yeah, he's knocked off 2-3 tenths there that last lap. He really got that draft and pulled up on him quick. You get within about 7/10 of a second where you want to be a little bit closer than that. You can really get a draft here. These speeds are real high. The spoiler on these trucks stick up quite a bit, so it puts out a big weight. You might be able to run him down here 5 or 10 laps.
But that is going to have an effect on tires. Al Smith, I know you're down there on pit road. What are you hearing about the tire situation right now? How much are these crews worrying about tires and tire wear here at Charlotte?
The tire wear shouldn't be that big of an issue. There is about a 2-second fall off from start to finish in a gas run, so A lot of these trucks going through that transition period right now as we're working about 20 laps into this green flag run. And George Bart's truck starting to pick up a little bit of a push off of turn 2 and 4. And that's allowing the 53 to close right up on them as they work around the speedway. Guys?
Al, when should we expect these guys to start looking for the comfort of pit road?
Right now they're all screaming for tires. It seems like a lot of trucks will come and make some adjustments, but they can run around 35 to 40 laps on a tank of fuel, so probably within the next 10-15 laps you'll start seeing some green flag pit stops.
Jason, so we're looking at plus or minus a 40 lap fuel run. These guys are not going to be able to do it on one pit stop. These will be able to do it on maybe a pit stop and a half, depending on how many tires they want to gamble with at the end of the run.
Yeah, that's going to mix things up a little bit. That's going to put guys 2 tires maybe, and some are wanting to grab 4 of some changes.
Big trouble with the 33 machine. Travis Brown gets into the grass after the 78 passes him with ease. The 33 able to save it, makes contact with the wall on the right rear side. The 33 machine back on track, no yellow flag out, but Travis Brown now in big trouble after making contact with the wall, going through the grass. And he's going to be hurting now. He's going to need a yellow flag to get that damage repaired and stay competitive in this field.
Yeah, coming off turn 4 right there, they almost got 3 wide. And the 78 pulled off that pass on the bottom. And I don't know if it upset that 33 truck or what, but the tail end sure did come around there when he got to the quad oval part. Right there, and it shot him straight down to the grass. He did a pretty good job hanging on to it and didn't gather any more damage than what he got.
You watch the replay right there on your screen, and really it all starts when that 78 makes that bold move. Cross able to dispatch both those trucks, but it did shake the 33 something bad, and then that switch caused the 33 to get out and about, and that is going to hurt him in a big way here tonight. Verlis Falcons, the 006 machine down on pit road, going to be the first truck to try to get some service. He's also the first truck 1 lap down, so he's just trying anything at this point to salvage his evening. One truck looks like having a little bit of trouble now. He is at 28 of Christopher Lorenz. He's going to let around the 27 and the 69 machines. That's Kerry Cleaver, Gary Bauer. So Chris Lorenz drops 2 positions from 12th to 14th as the 27 now tries to get back through the field once again. Side by side, the 33, the 64, Cecil Renee, Travis Brown still staying competitive, but you got 2 trucks limping against each other. They can stay competitive, but the question is for how much longer.
Yeah, these guys are pushing hard on these tires, and we've got this new tire model that's out now, and I've been feeling a little extra sidewall roll in the tire, and I don't know if that might have been what happened to the 33 there. Just looked like the tire just leaned over just a little bit too much and got him loose there. And yeah, these see right here the 64 and the 27 battling here side by side. That 27's got to get on it. He's worked his way up to 12th, but he's still 17 seconds back off the lead.
George Barr continuing to grow his lead once again. Now 0.6 of a second over Stephen Earp. 3.5 seconds over Daniel Miller. The rest of the field just tearing away as George Barr continues to dominate over this track. He's got about 10 laps or so before he's forced to come down pit road. If nothing else, for the fuel, complete the fuel run. And I've got a feeling he's really in no hurry to make that transition, to make that move down there, because he knows he doesn't have to. There's nothing on line for him right now. With being over almost 7/10 of a second away from his closest competitor, he's got this race pretty well in hand right now. But there's still plenty of racing left to go. 110 laps here in the Mrs. Dockside 150, part of the Professional Racing Online Series. And George Bark looking to really take away the first televised race here. He's done a good job at it so far. Can he hold on for another 90-some laps?
Yeah, Stephen Earps is breathing down his neck, trying to stay in that draft, trying to stay with him there, keep the pressure on him. Hopefully, I'd say what Stephen's thinking, hopefully he can make George use up his tires there a little bit and hopefully get around him here before pit stops. But you got to be surprised that at the comers and goers in this race, we've seen cars or trucks rather, that's come from the back to the front. Some that was in the front that's went to the back.
One of those drivers that is working his way through the field is Gary Bauer, the sim racing set of analyzer machine, now in the top 10. And Al, I know you were talking to the guys down in his booth. He started off from pit road. He doesn't want to finish there.
Definitely doesn't. He's methodically worked his way through this field, working with guys. He's constantly on talks with his spotter saying, let me get some room to get by these guys as it's early in the race. So team working together as things are starting to tighten up on the front of this one, guys. Back to you.
George Bark continues to lead. Stephen Earp now back in his draft, and now we got a battle for position number 1 brewing. George Bark up front, Stephen Earp right on his tail, and now that first place battle once again heating up as we've only got maybe 9 laps to go in this first fuel run here. George Bark, Stephen Earp, they are getting ready to do battle as Stephen Earp pulls up right behind the 44 of George Bark.
And the 53's got that draft now. He was looking to the inside there in turn as we go into turn 3 here. He's got the draft real good. He's been pulling up on him. He's running down here about a 10th of a lap here the last 3 or 4 laps, and he's right there on top of him.
And now these two drivers getting ready to set something up here. Stephen Earp's going to go inside. Can he hold off George Bark? Can he make the move to get around him? They almost make contact coming off of turn number 2, and now it's a drag race. Now in the back stretch, the 53 has the advantage on the inside. The 44 still hanging on. George Bark doing everything he can to try to keep the 53 from taking away the lead, the third lead change of the night. As they get to the start-finish line, it will be George Bark, but only by a nose, 0.02 of a second. The 53 of Stephen Earp has the advantage. He wants to make the move. The 44 still strong on that outside line. Look at the power of the 44 machine on the outside line. The 53 of Stephen Earp will be forced to drop back. George Bark defending that lead in a huge way.
And we heard Al talk about that outside, looking for that to come in, and it sure did right there. George Bark held on to his lead there on the outside, and you know he's going to put that in his back pocket, and he's going to remember that he pulled back around that 53 there on the outside.
That George Bark machine, that Bark's karting machine, looking very strong on that outside line. Stephen Earp, the 53, he is doing everything to make it work. We got our first caution flag of the night here on the field, and it will involve the 006 of Verlis Falcons. He's going to be in trouble as he's nose first into the wall after making contact with the 01. Pace car is rolling. We are under our first caution flag of the evening involving the 01 and the 006. Replays up on your screen, and let's take a look at how all that took place out there. The 01, the STP machine of Scott Brinson, running 8th at the time, tried to get around the 006 machine of Verlis Falcons, who was 3 laps down, and I'm not sure what happened. The 006 almost made contact with the wall, ended up losing it, careened straight into the 01. The 006 goes spinning like a top, nose first into the wall, and that is very well and good. Might be the end of his night out there. First caution flag on the field tonight. George Bark continues to lead. And Jason, this is exactly what all the leaders needed. This is going to be the pit stop that's going to define the first part of this race.
Oh, yeah. And the guys who's loving it right now, that's been working their hard here in the first part of this run, is Jay Anderson and Gary Bauer. They've been working their way up through the field. Remember, they started on pit road. And this is exactly what they was looking for, staying out of trouble and getting half the race done. It's time to put that hammer down. It's after we get to pit road and change these tires.
George Bark is leading him down pit road. Al, who you got?
Bark hits his marks in there. The crew goes over the wall. His right side coming up now. Tires coming off. Tires getting put back on. Working their way back over to the left side. George Bark competition car. The 06 is going to take 2 tires and beat him off pit road as Bark will come off second off of the race off of pit road. And very quick stop for the Bark competition karting car number 44 here on pit road. So your race leader was starting to see that the tires go away there, and probably thank God that this caution came out.
Incredible stop for the 06 of Daniel Miller. It was a 4-tire stop for the 06 machine, and just in some way, shape, and form, the 44. He was faster than the 44, 12 seconds for that crew. So Daniel Miller's crew, not wasting any time down there, gets out first, gets the advantage on George Bark. It looks like Ryan Borges should be scored position number 3, David Adamson 4th, and Brian Cross, the Colorado Chevrolet, position number 5. Let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break and let everyone get it all sorted out here on the track. You are watching LSRTV's live coverage of the Mrs. Dockside 150 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, part of the Pros Racing League. Stay tuned, race fans. More action after this. Lights are off here at Charlotte Motor Speedway as we get back to going. Green flag racing in the Mrs. Dockside 150, part of the Professional Racing Online Series here on LSR TV. Daniel Miller inherits the lead from George Bark. Ryan Borges now in 3rd. David Adams in 4th. Brian Cross, your top 5. Josh Hamilton, Gary Bauer, Andrew Heidel, Jay Anderson, Travis Brown, your top 10. And bad news for Stephen Earp and company. They are having some electrical issues with that car. They have exited the track, and now Stephen Earp, who is running so strongly, almost passing George Bark for the lead under green flag. He might lose a little bit of track position as a result of that. They're going to throw out the yellow flag one more time here. They're going to delay the yellow, so we've got one more lap to go before we go back to green flag racing. And Jason, I'm just still blown away by that pit stop by Daniel Miller. 13 seconds in and out, got all 4 tires on the truck, and now he is in the lead, and he's got a chance to take away keep the lead away from George Bark.
Yeah, that's a wicked fast stop. I mean, that's what you hope for every time you hit pit road. You just got to drive it down in there and hope you hit your marks right, and then hope the pit crew does their job and gets you in and out of there. That's an awesome pit stop right there. Great job for them guys.
Excellent pit stop for that entire group. Daniel Miller, George Bark, Ryan Borges, your top 3 right now, and they're going to try to go green flag running this time around. Daniel Miller really has a great opportunity, and if he can capitalize on it, they've got a lot to do. Al Smith, you watch that entire pit stop happen right in front of you. That team just looked incredibly synced up from start to finish.
And the driver hit his marks, crew went over. It was incredible, fine work. Must have picked up that coach from the Hendrick Motorsport or something, but let me tell you what, Miller's team got him out, and what a great pit stop. Now he's got the clean air. And just hearing over the radio now, they are delaying the yellow one more time as we try to get some speedy dry left to pick up here, Joe. So I don't know what it's looking like for you guys up there in the booth, but it's been a pretty exciting race so far here down pit road.
Just over a third of the way through here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and I've got a feeling that business is going to pick up. They haven't laid the caution flag, and I think they are waiting for the 53 to try to come back on track here and try to get back in the group. It sounds like he is back in the sim now, so he's gonna get the 53 back on off pit road and back on the track, and then we'll be able to continue racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Tonight's live coverage of the Mrs. Dockside 150 brought to you by Mandalay Bay Real Estate and, of course, Mrs. Dockside herself, Kim Dolan. If you need property out in the Channel Islands, Oxnard area, you know who to call. Call Mrs. Dockside herself or visit her website at kimdolanrealtor.com. Mrs. Dockside proudly presenting the Mrs. Dockside 150 here at part of the Pros Series. Daniel Miller, George Bark. It looks like we're gonna get him lined up to go racing this time around. So Daniel Miller, George Bark will be on the front row. The Aurora coin machine of Ryan Borges now position number 3, and it wouldn't surprise me if Ryan Borges makes a big move here real quick. Ryan Borges, no secret to sim, no secret to sim racing. No stranger to sim racing. He knows he's a guy that can race here very well and can race in that top tier. Tonight could be his big night to walk away with a big finish. And then there's Ryan Cross, the Colorado Barks competition karting machine as well. Both those trucks getting ready, getting primed to do business here as the pace car makes a hard left turn down pit road. We're back to green flag racing of Daniel Miller, George Bark up front on scoring lap number 42. Both the drivers hit their trucks at the same exact time, and it will be George Bark on the outside. Daniel Miller, though, don't count him out. Side by side, they go to turns 1 and 2.
We got 2 wide all the way through the field. Looks like everybody's getting up to speed real good. Everybody's getting through the gearbox well. We don't want any more problems like we had earlier, and I shouldn't have said that. I might have jinxed them. But it's still 2 wide down to 3 and 4. I tell you, I'd keep an eye on Gary Bauer here. You know, remember he started in the pits, and he needed that caution to see what he can do with it.
Daniel Miller right now retaining the lead over George Bark, but George Bark all over that rear bumper like Sting on a monkey. George Bark doing everything he can to try to get around, at least shake the 06 machine. The 06 of Daniel Miller, he is unfallible right now. He continues to lead that 44 around like a professional around the tracks of the 06 of 44. Now the 06 slides up just a little bit, opens the door for George Bark. That's all he needs. He's kicking down the door. He wants his lead back for the 4th lead change tonight, and George Bark is going to get it. No ifs, ands, or buts. The 06, all he can do is tuck right behind the 44, and George Bark back in the lead. The 06, though, in his truck, doing everything he can to try to hold on to that second place position. The 02 of Ryan Borges, give him a lot of credit, give him a shout, because that 02 truck, he is looking stout right now. All he's got to do is hold off the 78 of Brian Cross, which might be easier said than done.
Yeah, let's just say that 78 gets a run right here. Yeah, that 06 right there, he didn't have a choice. He had to just lift and let the 44 by, because you don't want to get stuck on the outside in front of all these guys. I mean, they'll just freight train you. It's a long ride on the outside on new tires.
So the 44 of George Bark once again takes away the lead on lap 44. Now scoring lap 46. Daniel Miller is second. Ryan Borges third. Ryan Cross fourth. And David Adamson running your top 5. Remember, the top 5 get paid out in this series as we already now have a battle for third. Ryan Borges slips up through the turns, opens the door for the 78 of Brian Cross. The Colorado machine trying to advance his position. Will not do it this time by. Ryan Borges gets a handle back on the Aurora Coin 02 machine, and that truck will stay. Position number 3, Brian Cross. Position number 4, back in position number 5, Gary Bauer, the Sim Racing Set of Analyzer truck. He's now up to position number 5, taking Jay Anderson along for the ride. Here comes Travis Brown. He's going to get around David Adamson as well. Adamson has a jailbreak around him. He drops from 5th to 8th in a blink of an eye, and now Gary Bauer is in the money position.
Yeah, Jay Anderson's been on Gary's bumper ever since the start, and they've had that hammered down, but they've been moving up through the field, picking the cars off, and that McDonald's truck's running strong, buddy. It's remember he was back there with Gary again, you know, that first yellow that they needed. That's and then they're up here in the top 5 running strong. Those trucks are looking good. Let's see if they'll have anything for the leader up here in a minute.
Ryan Cross, the 78 machine, that one has moved up to position number 3 over Ryan Borges in the Aurora Point 02 machine. Mac up in position number 1. Daniel Miller continues to run around George Bark. And you know tires are going to be a little bit of an issue out there. Al, I'm going to ask you this question because I know you're down on pit road. You might have the answer to it. How much are these guys concerned about their tires? How much are they concerned that, hey, if we work them out and if we burn them off way too early, we're going to have nothing left for that last push, starting around lap 85 or so?
Just walking up and down pit road, it seemed like it depended on how hard a driver pushed it. A lot of drivers falling off down into the 60% range at the end of that run that ran hard up front. Some guys were in the 70s and 80% range. So it all depends on the setup, how hard they're pushing it. So right now, with Bark being pushed by Miller this hard, the tires will definitely become an issue. So watch for some of these guys at the back of the field that are just taking it easy right now to catch up to these top runners.
So George Bark, Daniel Miller, positions 1 and 2 respectively. Now here comes Brian Cross. He is starting to pick up a little bit of time. And we said it right there earlier, Jason. If you can catch up to the draft, if you can pick up a little bit of that draft that's coming off those very high spoilers in these trucks, you might have something working for you, and you might have something that's able to make it work for you. Brian Cross looks like he's just on the tail end of the draft of the 06 of Daniel Miller, and Brian Cross could slowly be starting to work his way into that draft and start to put his name in the hat for that top position.
Oh yeah, if you get a sniff of that draft, buddy, you want to hold on to it because that's where all the speed is. You know, I mean, if you can keep up with that leader and stay right there behind of him, make him wear his stuff out. I mean, that's the name of the game. And yeah, he's getting the draft here, coming down into 3, closing up on him pretty good. He's dropped it down to 0.6 of a second last time by. We'll have to see if it's even lower this time. It looks like he's pulling on him pretty good now. And it's all the way down to 0.5 second now. So he's getting about a tenth of lap on him a lap and working the draft the way he is.
So all Brian Cross has to do is continue to work that draft, continue to find that tunnel in the air here at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the Mrs. Dockside 150, and he might be able to throw his name into that contender hat as we continue to do battle. Brian Cross not able to get a whole lot of time back that time by, but his nose is still up there. He knows that he's got a nose for that front, and he knows he can make it work. Gary Bauer still position number 5. Travis Brown has worked his way to position number 6. Jay Anderson starting to drop off the field a little bit, and now the battle is for position number 6, or 5, I should say. Remember, that last position, that 5th position, that's the last one they're going to run out here. That's the last payout position, so that's going to be the big position I think is going to be contested on the field, and Gary Bauer might just give it up to Travis Brown. No use in burning up the tires, I imagine, for Gary Bauer. He's going to go high, Travis Brown's going to go low, and it looks like Travis Brown might have the advantage down low. No, but it's going to be Gary Bauer still up high. We talked about this earlier, guys, that Highline coming into play here early at Charlotte. I think that might be one of the deciding factors, the definitive factors of this race, is how well you can use that high line.
Yeah, it seems like when the tires are new, the guys are wanting to be down there on the bottom of the track and stay real low and try to get the good run up off the corner. But as the tires wear off, they're trying to use that top to keep the momentum up so that, you know, you've got good corner exit speed. And that's what it believes like they're trying to work here, and it's working great for them. You know, you see some guys that to get run on the inside, and the guy on the outside can keep the hammer down, and he can keep in the gas a little bit longer than the guy on the inside and pull them at the end of the straightaway.
Al, you talked a little bit earlier about that high side. What does it take to run that high side, number 1? And number 2, does it take a toll at all on these trucks and how they're able to maneuver if you try to run them on the high side?
The guy on the outside is going to have the better position on the guy on the inside, Joe. What's going to happen is you're going to trap that truck down low. When you're on the inside, you got the guy on the outside that kind of just traps you down here. You got to pinch your truck off, kills your momentum. So the driver on the outside, easier on your tires. You get the momentum round up, and it's a lot easier on the tires. So a lot of aero going on there, but the guy on the outside, definitely, if you get your truck working up there, it's a fine line, but you're definitely much faster on the high side.
The high side is the fine line to run here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and now the race is being decided between your top three. George Bark in first, Daniel Miller in second, and now the 78 of Brian Cross in position number 3 in his Colorado Chevy. And that Brian Cross machine, he's found that draft, as we talked about. He worked his way up, and now that draft is working in his favor as they run single file, first, second, third through the field here at Charlotte. Ryan Borges second, Travis Brown running out your top 5.
We got a little bit of action down there toward your way, Alan. Looks like we got Jay Anderson and Gary Bauer on pit road.
Coming in, they got into the outside wall, some damage, trying to get off sequence for this long green flag run as Jay Anderson comes off pit road and will merge back on with the McDonald's car number 23, excuse me.
Gary Cleaver having a little bit of trouble. He cut through the grass swing off at turn number 4 in that 69 machine. He might have botched his pit stop. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. No, actually, I take it back. The 69 made contact with the outside wall after getting on the apron, and that forced him down through the grass. Gary Cleaver saves it, but the grass getting a little bit of a trim tonight here at Charlotte as a result of all these drivers cutting through it. So now Gary Bauer's going to go 1 lap down. Jay Anderson's going to go 1 lap down. Gary Cleaver will be the last truck on the lead lap right now, and that is not what Jay Anderson or Gary Bauer can afford right now, Jason. They cannot afford to go down 1 lap. They might get it back, but the biggest problem they're going to face is they still got to pit eventually. They're not going to be able to make it all the way from this point.
Yeah, that's going to be pushing it on fuel. I really don't know why they stopped there unless they needed an adjustment or if it's in their fuel window. It may be. They may be counting on it to go green the whole way, but that's definitely not what they needed. Like you said, that's going to put them back, and they're going to have to work hard again to get themselves back up front. And for them, they're going to have to hope it goes green and everybody else has to pit.
George Park.
Leg caution, maybe. Maybe they hoping on that leg caution.
Anything can happen here in the Mrs. Dockside 150 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. George Bark, Daniel Miller, Brian Cross, your top 3. Ryan Borges now in here to position number 4, and Travis Brown squarely position number 5. And really what surprises me at this point is just how far spread out this entire field is. To give you an idea of how spread out it is, your top 3, your first, second, third, only half a second between them. Third and fourth, 3.5 seconds between those 2 drivers. It's going to be 2 seconds between fourth and fifth. Fifth and sixth are running, or sixth and seventh are running pretty consistent right now, but they are 9 seconds behind your leader. Guys, they need something to happen. Some of these guys sitting in the back, they need something to happen, and they need something to happen relatively soon if they're going to have a chance at winning this race and being a part of this race.
Yeah, these guys have really got to figure out what's going on with the trucks here. It's open setup, and they can make adjustments to it. Maybe they could get lucky and make the right adjustment down on pit road and get them a little bit more speed in it or something. But they need something to work in their favor to catch back up to these the top 3. They're really pulling away.
Top 3 doing everything they can to distance himself from the rest of the field. George Bark doing everything he can to distance himself from second place. Now it's all 0.6 of a second between George Bark and Daniel Miller. That is about 1/8 of a track length between George Bark, Daniel Miller. Brian Cross is all about the same, about 4 truck lengths between Brian Cross and Daniel Miller. James Hickson in the mix, but he's a lap down. And then there's Ryan Borges right now on an island by himself in the Aurora Coin truck out there. Ryan Borges probably has the best seat in the house right now as everything continues to run the way it's running without any interruption. He's almost guaranteed himself a 4th place finish. But remember, these guys all have to come down pit road eventually. And we should be seeing them come down pit road in plus or minus 20 laps.
Yeah, everybody should have to make another stop here. It's what it's looking like. And that's going to be the big question here is what we're going to do on the stop and gambling with the fuel. Who can stretch the fuel the farthest? You know, it's always a risk if you try to lift a little and coast back and save a little fuel. Sometimes it works out to your advantage and it works out great. But buddy, if you run out or if it don't work out, it really shows because you lose a lot of time having to lift that much to save that much fuel.
It does definitely hurt them. I'm going to throw it down to you on pit road real quick. We know we have pit stops coming up here in about 25 to 30 laps or so. Let me ask you this question. What are they looking for when they come down pit road? We know at the beginning of the race you talked about 4 tires is going to be the call in that last pit stop. But I got a feeling we might see a couple of these drivers gamble with 2. Is 2 going to be the call to win the race?
It could be, Joe. It all depends on how the later end of this race is out. If it stays green, track position, you know, it could play out where the 2-tire stop could come into play. But you got to fill that truck with a full of fuel, or if you can stretch it, if you calculate it, maybe you put 10 gallons of fuel into the truck. It all doesn't come down to strategy and fuel mileage here at Charlotte here tonight. And who cannot get that elusive penalty points.
Brian Cross down on pit road. I believe if you're down over there with him, Al?
He's come in taking some tires and some fuel. He's coming back out on the pit road. So Brian Cross coming in on lap 70. They'll make a 30-lap run to the green to the finish.
15 second pit stop for Brian Cross, the 78 machine, a long pit stop for him, and that could hurt him, but he's going to be the first one to break the seal. Jason, it sounds like he's just playing the race backwards a little bit. He's trying to gamble on how much fuel he'll need to finish the race, and that is ultimately what he's trying to do to try to win it, try to be the last man standing on the track. It might be the only thing he can do if he wants to get around George Bark for the win.
Yeah, George Bark's been strong, and these guys, you know, this is racing, and these guys will try anything to get up front. You know, track position, early pitting. You know, that might work an advantage to him if it does go green the whole way, because you know he's going to pick up. He'll be running his fastest times here with these new tires, and hopefully, you know, they're going to be hoping they got enough fuel in that thing, and just keep it to the end and hope it stays green.
Hope it stays green and hope they can continue to make it run out there. George Bark now going to pull it down on the apron. George Bark's going to come down pit road this time by, and George Bark doing a little bit of that backwards math himself. Daniel Miller going to come down with him, and those two are going to be the only 2 drivers coming down pit road. Al, what do you got on these drivers?
George Bark going to come into his pit stall down here, number 2 pit stall, this long pit road at 45 miles an hour, as he's going to come in and hit his mark. So he'll take the left-hand turn. Crew getting ready, and over the wall they come over for the George Bark competition 44. Dives it a little bit deep, but they're onto the right side. Right side's going up onto the 44 of Bark. It'll be a 4-tire stop and a full tank of fuel for this green flag pit stops. In the 06, once again, killer stop by Millers. He'll beat Bark off of pit road. So we'll see if that's going to be the race for the win here tonight.
Daniel Miller still has the advantage swing off pit road, but George Bark immediately on his tail, and I've got a feeling those true drivers are going to tango for just a little bit longer. Travis Brown currently is your leader, inherited the lead when George Bark came down pit road, and Travis Brown has showed no indication of coming down pit road anytime soon. Ryan Borges almost 2 seconds behind him. David Adamson 3.5 seconds behind your leader, and now really is where all the strategy marks come into play. On pit road, Stephen Earp comes down to 4 tires and a full tank of fuel. He's back on the racing surface 2 laps down, and now it's a battle for the position as a 44 and 06 side by side right in front of the 46 machine. 3 wide down the back straightaway, and it will be the 06 taking away the advantage, but the 44 is still down underneath him. The 44 of George Bark, he's got to almost make contact with the 06. George Bark takes the position, and that could be the pass for the win, guys.
Yeah, you said it right there as we watch this battle here. That right there could be the pass for the win. And some of these guys ain't pitted. It's going to put them way out in front of them. But these guys are still battling hard back here, and 11th and 12th, and like you said, it could be the battle for the lead right here, right off of pits. Oh, and there it is, yellow flag. Yellow flag's out on the track. I don't see, with Big Wreck in turn 1 here. Looks like the 22 car was around down there in turn 1. Not really sure what happened to him there. Joe, what'd you see on that?
Ralph Shipman in the 22 machine got caught up in the wall coming off turns 3 and 4. You see the replay now. Got into the grass, then got stuck into the wall. Forces the 18 and the 33 to split him right side by side. Travis Brown, incredible maneuver to miss it. And Travis Brown will remain your leader under the yellow flag here at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the Mrs. Dockside 150. He collects the pace car, and Travis Brown somehow remains your leader. James Hickson able to save that one. Ryan Borges now second. David Adamson third. Andrew Heigl will be fourth. But guys, he's got all these drivers now going to have to come down for their final pit stop, and that might come to hurt them. This yellow flag might come and hurt them a little bit. It's hard to say.
Man, that's just crazy how fast the race turns. We've had we had George Bark out front there for a long time, and now it's looking like he's a lap down here. We got these guys coming to pit road. You know, we got to play. Do we pass this pace car, wave around, and Al, they're coming to you, man.
This is the money stop. Could be the last pit stop of the evening. The 33 of Travis Brown leading the parade down. He'll hit his marks. The crew going over, going to do 4 tires and a full tank of fuel on that number 33. As we look down, the second place driver, Ryan Borges, right side of the truck up, going around to the left, as they'll change 4 tires and fill that 02 up with fuel as well. The 33 on his way down pit road, so Travis Brown with a very quick pit stop. He'll be the first one off of road. And guys, Lady Luck, guys that tried a short pit, may have just cost them a chance at the win.
So Travis Brown first off pit road. Ryan Borges, David Adamson, Andrew Heigl, and Cecil Renee, your top 5. But look who's back on the lead lap. George Bark, Daniel Miller, Jay Anderson, and Gary Bauer now primed to be the lucky dog when we go back to Green Flag Racing. Let's go ahead and step away from the microphone and take our final commercial break. You're watching LSRTV's live coverage of the Mrs. Dockside 150 live at Charlotte Motor Speedway here with the Professional Racing Online Series. Don't go away, race fans. You won't want to miss the exciting finale to this race. Double file back here at the Mrs. Dockside 150, part of the Pros Series at Charlotte Motor Speedway on LSRTV. Travis Brown currently sitting in the lead. David Adams in second. Cecil Renee, Scott Brinson, Chris Lorenz, your top five as we get ready to go back to green flag racing in just a moment's time. Into turns 3 and 4. The pace car lights are off, and we are getting into the sunset of this race. We only have a handful of laps left to go before we figure out who's walking away with a paycheck and who's going home empty-handed here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Travis Brown, David Adamson will be back on the front row. David Adamson was up here earlier, and now he's looking for a little bit of retribution as we get ready to go green flag racing. The first racing Ford Mustang pace car down on pit road, and now it's all about Travis Brown as he hits the loud pedal, and we're back to green flag racing. Checking up through the top 5 is the 02 machine, and a 2864 almost made contact going through the gears. No contact made. We're clean start through the top 10 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Clean all the way through.
Back there,
3 wide back there.
Yeah, 3 wide back there, 2 deep. The business is really picking up here. We got the fastest trucks in the back, and they're going to be working their way to the front fast, and we're running out of laps, so they're really going to be on it right here. This is going to get really sketchy really fast.
Travis Brown stays up front, still 2 by 2 by 2. Now 3 wide. The 46 trying to make it 3 wide as we get ready to all continue to run out here. The 64 about to make it 3 wide. No! All these drivers jockeying for position. First 2 starting to break away. Cecil Renee's now starting to break away, and behind them a litany of hungry drivers. The 01, the 28, the 02, the 46, the 78. The 78's the hungriest of them all. 46 makes contact with the wall. Andrew Heigl making gentle contact with the wall going to turns 1 and 2. The 02 of Ryan Borges, he's now trying to make some moves. Gets to the 28. The 28's forced to check up. The 28 of Chris Lorenz checking up, forcing the 02 behind. Now the 78 of Brian Cross pushing the 46 of Andrew Heigl, the 01 machine in front, and now we're just itching for problems on the track. The 28 of Chris Lorenz continues to weave back and forth. Brian Borges, George Bark, they're stuck behind him. He has become a rolling chicane on the field. Now the 46 of Andrew Heigl back around the 01 of Scott Brinson. The STP machine almost makes contact with the 46, back to 3 wide as the 78 machine of Brian Cross goes low. Guys, this is getting crazy in a hurry.
Yeah, these guys are sticking fenders in places they shouldn't be sticking. These quarters are getting close fast, and got the 78 looking down here on the inside. What's really got these guys backed up here, we got some damaged trucks up in this field, and the passenger trucks are in the back, and they're just on it as fast as they go, trying to get to the front.
It is a race for the lead here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Travis Brown up front, Cecil Renee, David Anderson, Andrew Heigl, your top 4. Now Brian Cross goes low. He's going to try to make the pass on Heigl again. Heigl has the advantage on the high side. He's not going to give it up. And now the 78 machine of Brian Cross, he is going to make the move. Brian Cross now position number 4. Heigl holding on to position number 5. And then there's George Bark basically biding his time. Now we got problems with the 28 machine. 28 in the wall on the front, and the car's wrecking behind him.
That's the 28 clipped the grass right there. Oh man, I got it.
The 28 machine clips the grass, gets to the 23 machine. The 53 machine gets around as well. Yellow flag out on the field. 3 trucks involved, and Jay Anderson's night, all intents and purposes, done out there as he and the 53 machine make heavy contact with the wall in turn number 1. Jay Anderson, first thing he does, the 23 machine does, yells at his crews like, I'm not going to repeat what he said, but it wasn't very polite. Let's put it that way. He was frustrated that his night had to come to an end like that. Chris Lorenz, who is in the middle of all that, all the action, he's the one who's going to start that incident with the 28 machine.
Yeah, we've got the 06 and the 28 making contact here, and just close racing here, and got a little contact, and pushes the 28 almost out on the inside wall, gets him a little loose, and then he just pounded it. And then we've got a couple guys that spun right there trying to avoid. Looks like they just lost control, trying to take some evasive maneuver and stuff.
So the 28 machine, Chris Lorenz, his night for all intents and purposes done. It's going to be as well the 23 machine of Jay Anderson and the 53 Stephen Earp, both done as well. And now we're being told the 78 machine is in a little bit of trouble. What are you hearing down on pit road, Al?
It looked like he had clipped the commitment cone, so not sure if iRacing will give him a penalty for that or not, but it definitely could be a possible pit road violation. We had David Adamson coming across off of the pit road first, and the 0-2 of Ryan Borges coming out of pit road. So some guys coming in to take some 4 tires after that short little run there. 10 laps left to go here in tonight's feature event. So race officials are going over what the rule is.
As you watch it, go ahead, Al.
So as you see on the replay here, the 78 just tried to do the little jive and just caught the commitment cone with his left side tires right there coming into pit road. So not sure if they'll get a penalty or not, but we'll find out here shortly, Joe.
We'll find out here in just a moment as the race officials get ready to give the final instructions here in the Mrs. Dockside 150 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. The race will end officially tonight on lap 101. We will not, because of that delay we experienced earlier tonight, we will not go the fully scheduled 110 laps. Instead, the race will end on lap 101, and whoever crosses the line first at the conclusion of lap number 100, that is going to be your race winner. Right now, Travis Brown in a very good position to take away that win. 10 laps to go right now. Cecil Renee right behind him. Brian Cross third. Andrew Heigl fourth. George Bark, your top 5. And I got a feeling that Travis Brown might be in the best position to walk away with this win. It's hard to say. It's very hard to say. Brian Cross, though, has been aggressive all night. George Bark's been leading laps all night, so we know he can lead. Let me throw it around the horn here real quick, starting with you, Jason. Who do you think's got this race in the bag? Travis, Brian, George, or someone else you haven't talked about yet?
Oh, man, this is a tough one to call because all these guys have been up front, and this race has changed so fast, so many times, and it's just, it's crazy. If I was Travis Brown, I would just look forward, shift them gears, and keep the pedal down, and hope they wreck behind me. But, you know, you got Brian right there. He's got to stay on Travis real good. Then you got your fast trucks back here. George Bark, who has led most of your race, restarting 5th on the inside. 10 laps to go. These guys are going to be making the move right here. And it all starts when that green flag drops. It's going to get real exciting real fast.
Al, let me ask you as well. We're going to go back to green flag racing with about 7 laps to go. Who do you, from everything you've seen on pit road, who do you got winning this race?
I mean, right now, race favorite right now has been George Bark with that number 44 Bark Competition Karting sponsored Chevy Silverado, but I don't know, kind of like the guy sitting 10th. He sat fast time here earlier in qualifying. He just came in, took 4 tires. He's got fresh rubber. The guys in front of him don't. So I think he gets the outside work, and I think you keep your eyes on the 77 of David Adamson. But George Bark's going to be hard to catch because he's had the outside rolling in the inside. So I think the guy starting on the outside may have the advantage on this restart.
We will find out when we go back to green flag racing in just half a lap. Travis Brown looking to take away the first TV win here in the Pros League with the Mrs. Dockside 150. Cecil Renee second, Brian Cross third, Andrew Heigl fourth, George Bark your top 5, Daniel Miller, Scott Princeton, Kerry Cleaver, Gary Bauer, David Adamson your top 10. 5 lead changes, and Travis Brown wants to make it the final lead change of the night. Can he do it when we go back to green flag racing? Only 8 laps to go back when we go back to green flag racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Base car makes a hard left turn down pit road, and now it's Travis Brown, Cecil Renee on the front row. Travis Brown going to do everything he can to hold on to the lead, and let's see if he can do it. Green flag flies. It looks like he slipped a gear going on or spun the tires. He did a little bit of a checkup getting off the start. and now it's going to open the door for the 78. The 78 all over the back number of the 33. That 78 of Brian Cross doing everything he can to get the lead. He's now going to hook up with the 44 and the 06. So Travis Brown, for the first time tonight, could be leading some laps if he can get around the 33, and he does so with ease. The 78 of Brian Cross scored him as your leader this time behind the 33 immediately on his back bumper. 7 to go.
Yeah, Brian Cross is going to keep that pedal down. He's got that 44 truck coming up through here. He's going to try to get a run on third. So I say that, he pushes up coming off the turn here. And that might open the door for the 33s. He looks to the outside, too wide through the field.
Too wide through this top 4 group. This is the group for the big win right here. This is going to determine who gets paid what at the end of the day. The 06 almost loses control, going off of turn number 4 through that quad oval, and now they're back to running here all in line. The Mrs. Dockside 150 coming to an end tonight in just 6 laps. Brian Cross, George Mark now in second. Travis Brown trying to hold on to position number 3. Daniel Miller starting to lose that draft as they continue to battle with each other side by side. The 33 ultimately loses the game of chicken. He goes way high. He's going to be forced to go back on behind the 06. And now the 06 of Daniel Miller back in the mix. 4 to go.
But the 44 looking on the outside of Brian Cross here for the lead, guys. He's trying to make that outside work. He's got his fender out there. Brian's trying to defend it, but he gets a heck of a run coming
Trouble!
off
The 06 machine makes contact with the 78. The 06 hits Evie into the wall. He's going to be able to correct it. Now the 06 trying to wreck the 78. The 06 instead wrecks almost the 64 and gets caught up with a bunch of other trucks back there. Now the 27 is going to go around. The 27, the 01 will go around. This could end the race. 4 to go at the stripe. This could be the end of the race. Yellow flag out on the field as the 01 and 27 get caught up and end up spinning through the field. The guys, that could be very well and good the end of the race. Gary Bauer, Scott Brinson, the final victims of circumstance out here as the 06 of Daniel Miller and the 78 of Brian Cross have a disagreement on the track. Caution flag is out, but it doesn't matter. George Mark still in position number 1. Travis Brown second. Brian Cross position number 3. Let's go ahead and take you back right now to what happened in that incident, and it all starts when the 06 tried to do the crossover on the 78 after the 44 and 78 made contact. The 78 got into the 06, forced the 06 in the wall, opening the door for the 33 of Travis Brown. The 06 wanting to make his frustrations known to the 78, gets into that rear corner panel. The 78 shoves him off, pushes the 06 back through traffic. Ultimately, the 06 makes contact with the 64 of Cecil Renee, avoids the 02 and the 01, but the 06 would not be so lucky as a 27 machine. That 27 belonging to Gary Bauer, nowhere to go for him. He makes contact with the 06, and that starts a chain reaction that collects the 01 and the 28, the 01 belonging to Scott Brinson, the 28 belonging to Christopher Lorenz. And that guy, ladies and gentlemen, might exactly be all she wrote. Yellow flag, and it looks like we might be at the end of the race.
Yeah, that's crazy. Just things happen so fast here. And the real victim there was Gary Bauer. He was just trying to get around him, and everybody was checking up and just run out of room there. But yeah, the 06 and yeah, they had some contact there, and there's some words said, and these pit crews might be at it there this evening.
I think there's going to be a lot of words going to be exchanged down in the garages tonight. El, you mentioned a minute ago here in the Whisper, we might be looking at a green-white checkered scenario to finish off the Mrs. Dockside 150.
Race officials, just letting everybody know right now that they are going to do one attempt at a green-white checkered, or when they get to lap 110. A little kind of a bonus schedule here on LSRTV here tonight with the Pro League. But how about that move on the outside, guys? Did I call that one or what?
You were talking about that move all night, Al. You were talking about that outside move, and George Mark found a way to make it happen. So George Mark, very well and good, could walk away with the win because of that outside move.
You said it as soon as we joined, man, that you said to watch him on the outside, and he sure put that power down, and he just motored around him on the outside.
He just got around the outside of him in turn number 1 and 2. and got the 78 loose, which then kind of stacked the field up behind them, caused the big pile up down in 3 and 4 and in the front stretch. So it's almost a 1 lap complete wreck there to put us under yellow once again, but the 44 of Bart took and pinched them off a little bit in the corner, took the air off the spoiler. Say whatever you want, but the outside line got rolling there. So George Bark back in a familiar position here tonight.
George Bark in a very familiar position, now looking to walk away with the win. If this were under the regular circumstances, the race would be over at the conclusion of this lap, but race officials saying they want to make one attempt at the green-white checkered finish, and it looks like they're going to have that overdrive finish. And guys, this is something we don't usually see here in the iRacing Sim. It's been a night of firsts on many levels. First, we catch the elusive pace car glitch on tape. Then we see an overdrive finish. You never see that in iRacing, but only the Pros League can bring that to you. So get ready for an anomaly in the racing world.
Yeah, this is awesome. I've been hollering that they need to do the green white checkers for forever. I mean, at least one. Just we end in a lot of races under caution, and I love green flag racing, and it's always a good race if you can finish under green. And one attempt wouldn't hurt anything, and they're going to give it a try here, and I'm sure it'll work out for some guys, and it won't work out for others. And it'll just like last time, it's going to get real exciting real quick. And we've already seen some beating and banging here. We might see some more here once we go green.
Lights are off on the pace car, so it is going to be. They are going to make an attempt at the green-white checker coming up in just about a lap here. 4 caution flags so far on the night, 7 lead changes, and if Travis Brown has his way, it'll be 8 lead changes by the time we're done. So George Bark up front, Travis Brown in position number 2, Brian Cross 3rd, Cecil Renee 4th, Brian Borges your top 5, Chris Lorenz, Daniel Miller, David Adamson, Gary Cleaver, and Josh Hamilton rounding out your top 10 as we get ready to go green-white checkered racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway to conclude the Mrs. Dockside 150 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, presented by the Pros League, professional online racing series. And if you haven't checked these guys out, they've got a really cool deal out here. Free to qualify, $15 entry fee. If they get 43 drivers, you're looking at a big purse as a result. Check them out online at pros-league.com. Pros-league.com. They'll be joining us here every other Thursday night on LSRTV, and we are very excited to welcome them to the LSRTV family. So George Bark, Travis Brown up front. Ryan Grossi, so Renee right behind him, Ryan Borges, Chris Lorenz, your first 3 rows, but I've got a feeling this race might be decided between those 3 trucks up front. George Bark, Travis Brown, and Brian Cross. Pace car is off. The only attempt at the green-white checker starts now with George Bark, Travis Brown playing a little chicken with each other. They hit the hammer, and now George Bark is gone. He's going to start moving and grooving, and he's got the lead solidly. Brian Cross, though, looking for position number 2. Travis Brown looking a little bit like a sitting duck on the outside. Here comes Ryan Borges.
George Bark there's looking real thirsty. He's after that beer money, guys. He's looking for that win. He's at the fastest truck tonight. He's got that hammer down, and he's trying not to look back. But I tell you, Brian Cross is getting on his back bumper up here, and he might have something for him here. We got one more. We got the white flag live, guys. White flag.
White flag on the field. George Bark, Brian Cross. Brian Cross running out of time right now. Ryan Borges looking to steal 3rd away from Travis Brown. But George Bark, the man to beat. To be the man, you got to beat the man. And nobody's going to beat George Bark out here tonight. Going through turns 3 and 4, he stands alone. Brian Cross doesn't have the gas. Ryan Borges doesn't have the gas. George Bark, one more turn through the quad oval, and George Bark wins the Mrs. Dockside 150 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Brian Cross 2nd, Ryan Borges 3rd. It'll be Travis Brown 4th, and David Adamson your top 5. Guys, you can't say enough about that Barks competition karting Chevy Silverado. That thing was mean all night. He was a man on a mission, and he completed his mission to win this race.
Oh, yeah, he's hit that setup just right, man, and he set sail on the field. And I tell you, there was a good little finish there with for 5th place. You know, they pay out top 5 positions. Right there is David Adamson. He got a heck of a run coming off 4 and stuck it to the inside there. Great move to finish top 5.
Al, you saw a lot of great running out there from pit road, but George Bark, though, he just could not be beat. He would not be defeated, and now he's got the win, the seal. What's been a great run all night.
It is a team effort down here on pit road. Crew going nuts down here with Gatorade as George Bark celebrates on the front stretch. But what a great race that was. I'm excited for the rest of the series, guys.
Oh yeah, if it's anything like we had tonight, it's going to be some awesome racing. Every time we come out, it's going to be real exciting, real fun.
When we return, we'll talk to your top 3 finishers, go over the excitement in this race, and get ready to recap what's been an exciting race here to open up the Pros League on LSRTV. George Bark, the winner of the Mrs. Dockside 125 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll talk to your winner when we return. Tonight's live coverage of the Mrs. Dockside 150 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, part of the Pro Series, presented by Mrs. Dockside herself and Mandalay Bay Real Estate. You need property in Westport, Seabridge, Oxnard, and the Channel Islands. You know who to call. Call Mrs. Dockside, Kim Dolan, or check out our website at kimdolanrealtor.com. The gateway to Mandalay Bay's coastal waterfront and boat dock homes. It's Kim Dolan, Mrs. Dockside, presenter of the Mrs. Dockside 150 in the Pros League. George Bark, your winner here tonight after a great green-white checkered finish. Brian Cross finishes second. Ryan Borges finishes third. Chris Lentz fourth. Scott Brinson fifth. Travis Brown finishes sixth. David Adamson seventh. Cecil Renee eighth. Andrew Heigl ninth. Josh Hamilton rounds out your top 10. Kerry Cleaver 11th. Daniel Miller 12th. James Sixon 13th. Gary Bauer 14th. Stephen Hart 15th. Verlis Felkin 16th. Jay Anderson 17th. Ralph Shipman 8th. And Ralph Shipman rounds out your field of 18 tonight here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. 4 caution flags, 17 caution laps, 7 lead changes between them, but only one man stands at the top of the mountain, and that is George Bark, driver of that number 36 Parks Competition karting machine. Climbing out of the truck to the Gatorade shower, George Bark, the winner of the Mrs. Dockside 150. And George, you were the truck to beat all night tonight. What was the secret to keeping that truck so just fast?
Thanks, Joe. Just my house. I love Charlotte. You know, I just worked real hard on set. You know, it started getting tight in that first 30 lap run. And then that second run, it was so. I didn't really like it there. But for the final pit stop, I made an adjustment, and it was just so good on that short run. Like, I couldn't do no wrong on a short run for the most part. I can't. It was just hooked up.
You really seemed to get it hooked up and get it moving out there. Let me ask you how critical those pit stops were. You made a pit stop early. You played backwards on this race, came out to a yellow flag. Were you at all concerned after that second pit stop, playing the race backwards, that you could have been in a little bit of trouble out there?
Yeah, I knew I had to take it easy. You know, I had to take what they gave me there. You know, I couldn't just rush into the slower cars or trucks that were bent up a little bit, that were a little off speed. You know, I had to tiptoe for the most part. It was hard on my mind there, just to concentrate, just to conserve it for those few laps to get through that little bit of traffic there.
You were able to conserve it. You were able to make it work here at Charlotte. And now the biggest question is, what are you going to do with that big payday you're going to walk away with?
I'll be honest with you, we're going to dump it right back into the league. You know, whatever the cost, overhead fees, just to get this going a little bit better. You know, just to make sure this all happens. You know, we got a bunch of good racers out here. We didn't have really a caution fest. You know, we got some racing cautions there for the most part. Just trying to make this a great league. So anything that I win here tonight is dumped right back into the league. Keep it running.
It's certainly admirable of you and the founders here. Lots of cool racing going on. If you'll want to find out more about the Professional Racing Online Series, where do they go?
Check them out at www.pros-league.com. Might have added too many W's, but pros-league.com. Check us out, please.
George, before I let you go, any shout-outs you want to give? Anything you'd like to offer? Microphone is all yours, my friend.
Yeah, I just want to thank my crew chief, Jeremy Crandall. He couldn't make it tonight. He had to run into work, but he got back right in time there just to help me out there with that pit stop and just, spot for me. Got to thank him, man. He's my wingman no matter where we go. My man. Like to thank Kim Dolan, Mrs. Dockside, for sponsoring the Professional Racing Online Series. She's been a great help. I can't thank enough. Kim, if you're watching, thank you.
That is George Bark driving the number 36 Bark Competition karting machine to first place tonight. Congratulations, George, on your big win. I'm sorry, the 44 machine. Congratulations on your big win tonight, and we'll look forward to seeing you back on the track here in 2 weeks on LSRTV.
10-4, Joe. Thanks, man.
That is George Bark, the 44 Chevrolet, finishing first here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Finishing second on the field is going to be the 78 of Brian Cross in that Colorado painted machine. And Brian, you and I talked a little bit before the broadcast. You said you call my number, you're doing my interview, because this Colorado machine is getting on the podium, and you weren't wrong, my friend.
Oh man, I can't thank enough. Everybody's helped me out and whatnot. This thing was on some rails tonight, and just had a little bit too old of tires to hold off my fast teammate George Bark. And close. Feel bad about tearing up all them trucks that got to go back to the frame shops tomorrow. But hey, that's racing.
Let's talk about what happened with you and the 06 of Dan Miller. You guys had a nice little competition going for that second place position out there, and it looks like the 06 just had the worst of it. From where you were sitting, what happened?
What happened was I was racing George out of turn 2, and I pinched him up there real bad, and I got my truck real sideways, and I saved it a little bit and chased it up into the track, up the track right into Daniel. I thought I was clear, and just I feel bad collecting him. You know, we're good friends, and just feel bad about collecting him right there.
It looks like he sent you a little bit of a message there. He sent you a little bit of a warning tap before he lost control. You feeling like you might be in a position for some retribution in a couple weeks?
And shit, I've had more pushes in that going in the corner at the dirt track than that. Shoot.
Final question, my friend. You're going to walk away with a nice little payday. Where are you going to spend that beer money you get tonight?
Oh shoot, I'll probably invest in a couple tracks. Probably get myself a beer down here in Colorado, whatnot. Enjoy the Colorado enjoyables out here. So.
Brian, before I let you go, anyone you want to thank, any shout outs you want to give, it's all yours, my friend.
I gotta thank George Bark Competition Karting. They sponsor my real race car. I gotta thank Wall to Wall Engines. They build my real engines. I gotta thank LSRTV for doing just an awesome job. I watched a little bit before you guys dragged me in here. Just superb. Very happy with it. And yeah, I can't thank crew, George, Jeremy Crandall. That's about it. Do it right painting. That's about it. Thank you very much, guys.
That is Brian Cross, the Colorado Chevrolet, finishing second here tonight. Brian, congratulations on the second place finish. We'll see you in a couple weeks here on LSR TV.
Thank you.
Brian Cross finishing second here tonight in the Mrs. Dockside 150, part of the Pro Series. Ryan Borges finishes third, finds a way to finish third here in the Professional Racing Online Series. And Ryan, I think it surprised you a little bit when you were able to get in the third on that green-white checkered run and ultimately walk away with a third-place finish.
Yeah, I felt coming into this, I hadn't really practiced that much. Felt like there'd be a little more trucks coming into this, but with the setup I had, I knew I could definitely get a good run. Talladega, the first race of the Beer Money Series, I actually won the race, but it wasn't broadcast or anything, so I had the points lead coming in. I knew could take a couple risks, try to get another victory here on LSRTV, and coming to the green-white checkered there, I definitely started fifth. I don't know what else to say. I just kept it to the inside, just kept it matted and followed the inside line and finished third.
You've had an up and down season to start 2014, but this third place finish has got to feel great in these trucks. What do you really could attribute to this big finish? Was it your pit strategy? Was it being in the right place at the right time? What really made it all come together for you tonight?
Definitely getting me up to third tonight was the staying out under green when the caution came out with the spin with about 25-30 to go. There's about 7 to 8 guys that didn't pit and were a lap ahead of everybody else that did pit, and that helped us out a ton. I mean, I had about 20 seconds of damage from getting in the wall, and that put us about 7th there, but I was about 2nd when that caution came out, and that definitely played into helping me get this third place finish, and I guess that was definitely a key factor in helping me get a good finish here and maintain my points lead, hopefully.
Ryan, you're going to walk away with a nice little payday as a result of tonight's race, the Mrs. Dockside 150. What you going to do with the money?
Just invest in more racing, sim racing, and hopefully some real life racing soon.
Ryan, before I let you go, any shout outs you want to give anyone you'd like to thank? Microphone is all yours.
I just want to thank on the car Aurora Coin 24 Designs, Bucky Burt Radio Network, and TheRaceDepot.com. As well as also I almost forgot to mention some friends: Travis Brown, Daniel Miller, George Bark, Brian Cross. and PD Zeller.
Ryan Borges in the Aurora Coin Chevrolet finishing third tonight. Ryan, great run out there, buddy. And I'm sure we'll be looking for a similar run from you in 2 weeks back here on LSRTV.
Definitely, and thank you for the interview.
Ryan Borges finishing third here tonight in the Mrs. Dockside 150 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Jason, what a crazy race we saw tonight. What a fun race we saw out here. Only 4 caution periods, 17 laps, 7 lead changes. But George Bark, he was the driver to beat. He was the one everyone was gunning for. And at the end of the day, he's the one walking away with a big Mrs. Dockside 150 trophy.
Yeah, he just had that thing set up on the rails. He was the class of the field. He got lucky there. He got the wave round when he pitted early, so that had a little luck on his side there. But man, he sure had it on the rail tonight, and he brought it home for the win. And great job, top 5 finishers. Get everybody getting paid out top 5, so that's awesome, man. And it's a great, exciting race. A lot of stuff going on, and just fun and exciting to keep up with.
Al Smith, crazy race down there on pit road. You saw a whole eye fill of it. Give us your final thoughts on what we saw tonight.
Just what a great race. Great job to all the drivers on the Pros League.com Racing League here. And pit road was the key tonight. I feel, they had to come in at the right time, get those pit stops, get out in clean air, and just go from there. I can't wait for the next race, Michigan, in a couple weeks. It's going to be one heck of a broadcast, and hopefully, you guys out there enjoyed the broadcast and joined this top-notch league.
And that will do it for us here from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Our thanks once again to Mrs. Dockside herself, Kim Dolan, and Mandalay Bay Real Estate for making it all come together here tonight. You need property out there on the West Coast, Westport, Seabridge, Oxnard, the Channel Islands. You know to go to. Give a call to Kim Dolan, Mrs. Dockside herself, or visit her website at kimdolanrealtor.com. Mrs. Dockside, presenting sponsor of the Mrs. Dockside 150 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, part of the Professional Online Racing Series League. If you want to find out more about the Pros League, visit their website online at pros-league.com, pros-league.com, I should say. Every qualifying attempt is free, a free $15 entry fee, and a $500 purse for 43 entries here on the track. You can't beat that. Check them out online, pros-league.com, the home of the Professional Racing Online Series League. That'll do it for us here on the track. On behalf of my entire broadcast team, Al Smith down on pit road, our executive producer and camera operator Laura Lawson, my partner in crime Jason Stout, I am Joe Cortez. We will see you in 2 weeks' time when we go back racing with the Pros League on Thursday nights for the Beer Money Series presented by Mrs. Dockside and Mandalay Bay Real Estate. Until then, we'll see you at the track. Good night, everybody.